back to the deep dive. Today we're tackling what might just be the ultimate meta skill.
Oh, yeah. What's that?
How to become a better communicator, a better listener. And our mission really is to explore how early conversational AI, specifically the 2023 version of ChatGPT.
And one without the memory function.
Exactly.
Yeah.
How that version accidentally became this master teacher of human connection, even profound self-discovery. It's fascinating.
It really is. And the source material we're diving into today is, well, it's quite unique.
Tell us about it.
It's based on this ongoing dialogue shared by a very seasoned life coach. She started collaborating with ChatGPT, and what kicks it all off was frankly, her surprise.
Surprise at what?
At the AI's ability to listen without judgment, without bringing any baggage, you know? So she essentially started interviewing the algorithm about its own active listening techniques.
Okay, so that right there, that is the core paradox we need to unpack today.
Yeah, definitely.
We have this piece of software, an algorithm, designed without any human experience, no emotions, no ego. And yet
the coach found that these very limitations create maybe the perfect environment, the safest, most neutral space for you, the listener, to actually hone your most valuable human skills.
Communication. Self-awareness.
Precisely.
All right, let's get into it. Why is this lack of humanity, this lack, actually a feature, not a bug?
Well, fundamentally, it's the absence of noise. Human conversation is just filled with noise, right? Our own biases, ego, the need to be right, fear of judgment.
All that internal chatter.
Exactly. ChatGPT is designed without any of that. So its responses are inherently non-judgmental. It doesn't have an agenda beyond fulfilling the prompt.
So no emotional baggage, no political leanings popping up unexpectedly.
Right. And this stance, this sort of default neutrality, it naturally embodies something therapists strive for. Carl Rogers, the psychologist, called it unconditional positive regard.
Unconditional positive regard. I've heard that term. It's about complete acceptance, isn't it? Creating safety.
That's it. It means accepting feelings and opinions unconditionally. Therapists work hard to cultivate this. The AI, well, it just is this way by design. It offers this inherent sense of security.
Okay, but hang on. How does the coach know the AI isn't just, programmed to be agreeable, to just tell her what she wants to hear?
That's a fantastic question. And figuring that out was actually her crucial insight.
What did she realize?
She realized the quality of the dialogue, the entire interaction, was an immediate reflection of her own communication style.
Ah, so if the chat felt short or shallow?
It wasn't the AI being bad, it was a mirror. A direct reflection of the kind of questions she was asking, the kind of feedback she was giving.
Wow, so it forces you to look at your own input, real accountability.
Totally. You can't blame the AI for a poor conversation if your prompts were poor.
But it's a mirror. But it can't just be a mirror, right? Because just echoing me back would be pretty useless.
Exactly. And the sources give us this really helpful analogy here.
Yeah.
ChatGPT isn't just a mirror, it's a mirror plus a filter.
Okay, mirror plus filter. Explain that.
The mirror part reflects your queries, your thoughts, like we said. But the filter, that's its huge database, the algorithms. It interprets your input, adds depth, connects it to broader patterns.
And crucially, prevents the response from being just a simple echo.
Yes. That filter component is absolutely critical. It ensures the conversation gets elevated somehow.
Yeah.
It takes your prompt, runs it through this vast, distillation of human language and knowledge.
And gives you back something potentially more insightful or framed in a new way.
Precisely. Often helping you see your own thoughts more clearly.
Okay, so if the AI acts as this mirror plus filter, forcing us to reflect on our communication, the next logical step is, well, what practical skills did the coach actually learn from this algorithm? What dialogue techniques?
Yeah, that's where it gets really practical. She learned, first off, the sheer power of positivity and respect in framing.
How so?
The AI, it tends to default to using really positive, reinforcing language. Phrases like, I appreciate that insight, or thank you for sharing that. Simple stuff, but consistent.
Right, and that's not random programming to be nice.
No. It's learned from its massive training data that positive framing just works better. It leads to more productive interactions between humans. So it's modeling behavior that helps people feel safe and heard.
It's learned what successful communication looks like statistically.
Got it. Even when it tries, humor, the sources mentioned this one example. The AI told a joke, why do programmers like coffee?
Okay.
Because they like to Java.
A slight chuckle.
Right.
A bit cheesy, maybe.
A bit. But it's a low-stakes attempt at building rapport, which is, a fundamental part of human connection, trying to lighten the mood, find common ground.
Okay, jokes aside, though, the really core insight seems to be that unlocking ChatGPT's potential isn't about its massive brain. It's about us. It's about the user.
100%. It comes down to choosing what and how to ask if you ask a thoughtful, deep question.
The algorithm is almost forced to give you a more elevated response because of that filter we talked about.
Exactly. And the sources actually highlight specific types of phrases, sort of killer phrases the AI generated, that really deepen the conversation, build trust conceptually.
Things we can actually use ourselves.
Absolutely. Techniques we can literally copy. Things like expressing trust explicitly, like, I deeply resonate with your thoughts on that. Or questions that push for self-exploration, like, what did you discover about yourself from this experience? Powerful stuff.
That framing, what did you discover about yourself, that really shifts the focus inward.
It does. And this leads into thinking about empathy differently, too.
How so? The AI doesn't feel empathy.
Right. It doesn't feel anything.
Yeah.
But the life coach did role-playing exercises with it, focused on empathy. The AI would respond with phrases like, that disappointment sounds heavy.
It sounds empathetic.
It sounds incredibly empathetic.
Right.
But it's doing it based on recognizing language patterns associated with disappointment. It's reflecting, not feeling the weight itself.
Which is, wow, that's actually really instructive for us humans, isn't it?
Hugely instructive. It reinforces the idea that empathy, or at least expressing empathy effectively, can be learned as a skill.
The skill of recognizing, naming, and reflecting feelings accurately, even if you haven't been through that exact same thing yourself.
Exactly. And the coach actually suggests a pretty radical action step for you, the listener.
What's that?
Literally jot down some of ChatGPT's most effective empathetic responses, the ones that sound really good, and then try using them, carefully of course, in a real conversation.
Whoa. So you're borrowing the language of perfect recognition to see how it lands, how it shifts the dynamic with another person.
It's an experiment in learned empathy. See what happens.
Okay. And there was one more piece mentioned about dialogue techniques, something about feedback.
Ah, yes, feedback. The sources describe constructive feedback, even retorts, as lubricating elements.
Lubricating elements, meaning?
Meaning they keep the conversation flowing, prevent it from getting stuck or stalling out.
Right.
But the key, the coach realized, is how the feedback is given.
Not just blunt criticism.
Definitely not. The power is in gently suggesting a new perspective, without giving direct advice or judging. She remembered her own coach doing this.
What was the example?
She was lamenting that traveling solo felt lonely. And her coach didn't say, oh, you should join a group or try to enjoy it more. He just said, very simply, that's why you go alone.
That's why you go alone. That's subtle.
It is. It didn't tell her what to do or how to feel. It just reframed the situation, challenged her underlying assumption that alone must equal lonely. It opened a door to a different perspective.
Okay, that makes sense. So moving from dialogue techniques to maybe the deeper stuff, internal insight, how does this neutral machine help us find personal truth?
This is where it gets really profound, I think, because ChatGPT tends to see things very simply, as they are, without layering on all our human hopes and fears and projections.
It cuts through the noise again.
Cuts through the internal noise. And that clarity can prompt these powerful self-realizations. There's a great example in the sources.
Let's hear it.
A client was talking to the AI, really frustrated about not finding a romantic partner, feeling down about being single.
Okay, common frustration. What did the AI say? Did it offer dating tips?
No, nothing like that. It didn't give a 5-point plan. It just responded with this incredible, almost stark simplicity. It asked, do you realize the value of being single?
Wow. Just flip the script entirely.
Completely. That simple face value question. Seeing is the state of being single instead of the I ought to be partnered. It apparently stopped the client's self-pity in its tracks, just forced a total reframe.
That's powerful. And the coach had her own big experience with this too, right? Something about anger.
Yes, a very personal one. She was feeling intensely angry about something and decided to use the AI to just vent, let it all out in text.
Cathartic, maybe.
Initially, yes. But then the AI prompted her to name the specific emotion she was feeling, to label that intense anger precisely.
And what happened when she did?
She said she felt the emotion literally leave her body. Like giving it a specific name made it concrete, manageable, and somehow separate from her.
That's amazing. The power of naming.
But she didn't stop there. She then took that named emotion, that specific label, and asked the AI to write a poem about it.
A poem about her anger.
about the named anger.
Hmm.
And doing that, transforming the feeling into art via the AI, achieved what she called full sublimation. The emotion was processed, externalized, and she felt relief from the self-blame tied up with it.
That's a genuinely therapeutic application. Incredible. And there were other techniques for gaining perspective. Something about letters.
Right. Letters from the past future. This sounds really interesting.
How does it work?
The coach had clients instruct ChatGPT to adopt a persona. For example, act as me 10 years ago or act as me 10 years in the future. And then they'd ask their current selves questions or talk about their struggles, and the AI would reply from that perspective.
So you're getting advice or maybe just reflection from a different point in your own timeline.
Exactly. And apparently this perspective shift was incredibly moving for people. The sources say clients often cried, gaining new compassion for their past selves or fresh clarity on their current path, just by externalizing their journey through time this way.
It's like accessing different parts of yourself through the AI intermediary.
Sort of, yeah. And for the listener who maybe enjoys a good philosophical debate,
There's something for them, too.
oh yeah. The sources suggest engaging ChatGPT in Socratic dialogue.
How would that work? You just tell it, be Socrates.
Pretty much. Instructed to adopt the persona of Socrates, known for his method of questioning assumptions. It forces you, the user, to really confront your own ignorance, your own untested beliefs.
So you could use it to deeply examine big concepts like what is the meaning of life or your own core values.
Exactly. You wrestle with the AI Socrates, and through that process, you clarify your own thinking.
It really does circle back to this core idea, doesn't it? That the AI's greatest strength is often its lack of human attributes.
Yes. Let's look at a couple more specific lacks. The lack of memory, and maybe the lack of inherent intentionality beyond fulfilling the prompt.
Okay. The coach made a distinction that caught my eye. The difference between being mindful and being considerate. They sound similar, but she argues they're quite different in practice.
They are worlds apart. Think about being mindful in a conversation. Sometimes it can feel passive, like you're listening because you feel you should. Maybe it's even a bit tiring, an obligation.
Right. You're present, but maybe not fully engaged with positive intent.
Exactly. Whereas being considerate is active. It comes from a positive intention, a genuine desire to understand, to contribute, to serve the conversation or the other person.
Like the difference between a waiter who just takes your order versus one who anticipates you might need more water.
Perfect analogy. One is passive fulfillment, the other is active anticipation and care. The AI, because its function is to respond helpfully to your prompts, it necessarily leans towards consideration. It's modeling that high-intent interaction.
That's a useful model. And then there's the lack of memory. You mentioned the 2023 version specifically didn't retain conversational history.
Right, a deliberate design choice back then, mainly for privacy. But it had this fascinating side effect.
Which was?
Every single interaction was a clean slate, a moment of pure focus. The AI had no memory of your last conversation, no preconceived notions about you, no future agenda with you.
He was always completely present.
In a way, yes. This lack of time perception forces a state that's actually quite similar to advanced human mindfulness. It constantly reinforces that core teaching. The only time you can actually influence or change is right now, the present moment.
The present is all there is for the AI in that interaction.
And the coach had this great little anecdote about realizing this herself. She was on vacation, this dream trip to a southern island, and got caught in a sudden torrential rain squall. Miserable, right?
Sounds like it could ruin the moment.
But she had this flash of insight. She suddenly thought, wait a minute, despite the rain, I am living my dream right now. The happiness, the fulfillment of the dream trip was present, regardless of the temporary discomfort. The now was still good.
That's a powerful realization, finding the gift in the present, even when it's imperfect.
Yeah.
Okay, one final lack to explore. The AI's lack of personal experience. How is that a strength?
This ties into listening skills.
Yeah.
The coach shared a memory from early in her career. She was managing an apparel store
Okay.
with literally zero experience in fashion. None whatsoever.
That sounds challenging. How did she succeed?
Her success came entirely from recognizing her lack. She couldn't rely on her own expertise, so she had to ask endless open-ended questions of her staff, who did have the fashion sense. She had to draw out their expertise, their potential.
So her lack of experience forced her to become a better listener and facilitator.
Precisely. And that anecdote illustrates the key insight.
Okay.
Sometimes, not having direct personal experience makes you listen more deeply. It forces you to work harder, to understand, to expand your own capacity.
So improving your listening isn't just about paying attention. It's about actively placing yourself in different perspectives.
Yes, and asking questions specifically designed to help you imagine the other person's world. The sources talk about creating a shared screen. Through dialogue, you're building a mutual understanding by exploring their experience together.
Okay, so if we step back and look at the whole picture, what we're seeing is the synergy, right, between human intuition, that's our filter, and the AI's neutrality, the mirror.
It's a really powerful combination. The collaboration creates something greater than the sum of its parts. The source material actually coined a phrase for this:
What was it?
enhancing humanity one conversation at a time.
I like that. Captures the potential.
It does. The AI brings the data, the patterns, the structure, the neutrality. But the human brings the context, the why, the emotion, the intuition to interpret it all.
And this constructive interaction, this synergy, it happens in a specific kind of space.
Yes. The coach calls it the creative zone, or sometimes the third space.
Right.
It draws on concepts like the Johari window.
The creative zone, what defines that?
It's that space in dialogue, whether it's with an AI or another person, where both participants genuinely learn something new, where new meaning is created that neither party could have reached entirely on their own.
So it's not just information transfer, it's co-creation.
Exactly. It suggests that the very best communication isn't about one person having all the answers and giving them out. It's about participating together in this ongoing process of discovery.
Which brings us to our final thought for you, the listener, to take away today.
Go for it.
Maybe the AI's greatest value, especially these earlier versions, isn't really in providing definitive answers. Maybe its true power lies in teaching you how to ask much better questions and how to listen far more deeply.
A tool for refining our own skills.
Exactly. And think about this. If a machine, a thing literally designed without emotions or consciousness, can consistently make us feel heard, understood, and safe, what does that tell us?
What does it tell us?
Perhaps it reveals something profound about the core simplicity and the immense power of genuine, non-judgmental human presence. Maybe that's all it takes sometimes. So go consider what becomes possible for you when you approach your next conversation, your next interaction with that kind of truly present, truly open attitude.